If you want to know how T1 dominates their games through smart level 1s, keep on watching. Fun fact, T1 did something proactive in all 3 of their games versus LNG, and in their series versus JDG, all 4 games both teams attempted level 1 plays, meaning that in their last 2 series level 1 was incredibly important. Now, before we begin, we need to first understand how level 1 works. There are 2 main pillars. First, based off your champs, you can be stronger or weaker level 1. Now, you may be asking, how do I know if I'm stronger or weaker? Well, that's simple. There are 3 things: range, CC, damage. Or, to sum it up, how strong is your first skill? Second, if you're stronger or weaker, what are you supposed to do? Well, the answer is to get info or to find the hole. What is a hole, you ask? A hole is an area that you know the enemy isn't covering so that you can sneak in. As a person who is stronger, it's your job to find out your enemy's position and, if possible, to push them out. And by pushing them out, you create these holes in situations where you can punish. Let's get started on analyzing T1's level 1s. The first game we'll be looking at is Game 1 of LNG versus T1. First, let's look at their draft and identify where they're stronger or weaker. Pause and type in the comments your analysis based off of what we talked about. Alright, Aatrox versus Gwen. Gwen has more threat versus Aatrox if she starts E, otherwise Aatrox is stronger. His Q has a longer range, has more damage, and provides CC. Rell versus Jarvan. Rell is stronger, her Q has more damage and CC. Orianna versus Azir. Orianna has more range with her Q. Nyla versus Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa has more range, but Nyla has good follow-up and stronger in fight, especially with her Ghost. Senna versus Blitz. Blitz if they have one-shot potential, otherwise Senna has the range advantage. Now, from these matchups, T1 is stronger individually on 3 champs and 1 champ conditionally. But what about together? Well, T1 are stronger topside and LNG are stronger grouped as 5, as long as they have one-shot potential. Now, let's dissect the intricacies of what T1 did in this game. First, let's watch their deployments. Notice how Zeus runs directly top and pokes his head into the river. This is because if you do it instantly, you can see the enemy top laner before they enter the bush. By doing this, he confirms Gwen's position, pigging it to show his team. Owner sees Jarvan, who also drops a flag, and now T1 recognize that LNG isn't looking for a 5-man bot play at the start. Faker also runs to the middle of the lane and notices Azir isn't mid. They start posturing for the invade at 48 seconds. The moment Zeus sees Jarvan's flag, they walk into river with no fear. This is because they know that Jarvan is not stacked bottom and there is no fear of one shot. Now, let's pay special attention to Faker's movement here. He hugs this wall and is actually in fog, allowing him to get this unexpected Q angle on Scout. Afterwards, they walk in no longer afraid. Let's watch how they're able to snowball this advantage. Onar does a smart pathing choice. Instead of going straight to his red, he instead chooses to go back to his bot side. This accomplishes 3 things. 1. It could be assumed that LNG dropped the ward on red or Crux, and in doing so he stays hidden, allowing his lanes to play aggressive. Notice here how J4 pings Onar's location late, telling his team that he's on blue when he actually finished his ground. This is because LNG assumed that he stayed and took the red since they only had a Crux ward. 2. He still has aggressive options bot side. If he takes all of Jarvan's bot side camps, he will have to go back to his jungle, lowering his options for aggressive plays. 3. He secures his camp respawn and offsets Jarvan's red respawn, so it won't be a for her. The next game we will be analyzing is Game 2 of LNG versus T1. Once again, pause and type your predictions. Aatrox versus Gwen, same matchup as last game. Rell versus Maokai, Rell is slightly stronger. Jace versus Sylas. Sylas is stronger with E-start, more damage and CC, but Jace has more range. Varus versus Aphelios. Varus is stronger with his range. Ashe versus Rakan. Rakan has threat with W, but if people are able to flash his W, then he's in a really bad position. This game, T1 is a lot stronger level 1, specifically from their bot side, and we'll see how they use this strength to punish LNG. Before we analyze though, we must first understand the idea of a deep cover, which is what LNG is attempting to do. Notice that Gala is standing in this position instead of Try. This is because he knows that he's a lot weaker and will get pushed out easily. Usually you place a ward in that bush to spot the enemy, something that Keria expected as you can see from his red trinket start. Now, let's begin watching. Like before, let's check out the deployments of T1. Ashe and Varus are grouping together to put pressure into enemy bot try. Faker is scouting out mid, and their top sees Gwen and Maokai. Now once again, Faker does something really smart here. He shows for a split second in range of this bush, but what does this accomplish? Well, put yourself in Hong's shoes. He's afraid that T1 is going to push in from that side, so he gives up space and control of the bush. When they notice that Sylas didn't walk further, he decides to retake. This ends up being a mistake, because as he retakes the bush, Ashe confirms Aphelios' position, and now T1 knows that there's a hole in LNG's formation. They start sprinting towards the red buff, and this is where the payoff of Faker's movement occurs. Hong doesn't realize how dangerous of a position he's in because of the Varus and Ashe low, and he almost dies and is forced to take level 1. Now, you may be wondering, how does this snowball for T1? They only got a ward on Raptors, no sums, and no kill. Well, as I play out the clip, you'll understand the value of this ward. They see Maokai and Raptors, and Owner knows that Maokai started Wolves as he doesn't have a buff. With this information, he invades Maokai and takes his blue and Gromp. The beauty of this is that his bot lane is still allowed to play aggressive. Why? Because LNG don't know where Owner is. Tarzan ends up having to base, covering a jungler who isn't there, and Owner gets this really good gank timer. It's hard for Scout to expect, because from Scout's perspective, I would still be topside. Scout ends up dodging the gank, but if T1 played it a bit better or Scout a bit worse, it would have resulted in a kill. Afterwards, Owner gets the fog to bot side, giving his bot lane pressure again. And look at how aggressive they play. Keria is even face checking this bush, bluffing like their jungler is Dale, while he's actually completely far away doing the crap. Now, the final game that we're going to be looking at is Game 3 of LNG versus Team 1. Same thing again, type your predictions. Jace versus Renekton. Jace has more range, but he can't really face check the Renekton. Poppy versus Sedge. Poppy is a lot stronger and could push the Sedge out. Orianna versus Azir. Orianna has more pressure on Azir if she puts the ball in the middle. Varus versus Aphelios. Varus is stronger, more range. Renata versus Milio. Renata is stronger, she also has CC in the form of her Q. Now, T1 are stronger, but this time they has less reliable CC, so invading isn't as cut and dry. Now, let's analyze. Tracking the deployments. Everything is standard other than the fact that Owner leverages his advantage to push Sejuani all the way back. They managed to get a ward on Tarzan's blue, and LNG are able to counter ward Poppy's Raptors. Now, let's watch how this snowballs. With the blue ward, Owner knows that Sejuani is pathing up, and as a result, he can confidently look to invade Sejuani. He ends up getting spotted by Renekton's ward, which means that Sejuani matches. Owner plays his 1v1 jungle fight really well, and ends up picking up a kill while relieving immense pressure from mid. Not only that, he's also in top for a counter gank, single-handedly winning both mid and top. Let's watch that fight again. Impressive mechanics by Owner. To summarize, I believe that in the LNG series, Owner was jungle gapping Tarzan incredibly hard, but this was due to their info advantage they gained from their level 1s, and from that information, he was able to make such incredibly smart pathing decisions. If you like this content, follow me on Twitter and subscribe. I was a former LCS coach and I also do paid coaching, so if that's something you're interested in, join my Discord. Thank you.